Page 67, Jericho. This piece has a few things we need to talk about. All right, I'm going to start right at the beginning. Thumb is on E. Cross over to get the D sharp. And that's normal in piano playing. We do this sort of thing quite a bit. F sharp, G, F sharp again. Remember when they introduced a sharp in a measure like this, it's good for the rest of the measures. So that second F is F sharp. Now we're good until we get down to the last line. In the first measure, those are staccatos. Use finger staccato. But the first ending is not. That's a regular quarter note, okay? Then look at the eighth notes there in the first ending. They have an RH. They want you to use your right hand to play the first 4 eighth notes. So the first note is the E, and then the eighth notes come along. You got to go down here, okay? And then the left hand does the last 2. I'll come back to this in a minute. Let's talk a left hand. At the top, second measure when it comes in, that is an E, right? Then in the next measure, that's the second measure of the first line, stretch your hand out and use your index finger on the B. And then for the next measure, stretch your hand out a little bit and put the little finger on the E. So you're really in this position. Alright, the idea is we don't want to move our hand around, so we just put it there and we're good to go. Until you get down to the bottom. Bottom, the last line, again, those quarter notes are staccato. And when you get to the first ending, it is not staccato. So when I do both hands, the last line, and then the right hand goes down, and then the left hand does the last 2. Now when you have these kinds of things between the 2 hands, you need to make it try and sound like one hand really played it all. So you have to balance your hands out so it sounds like one hand did it. Because if you don't, it just bleh. Now in the second ending, there at the bottom, the right hand has the dotted half note. Comes up on beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The left hand has 2 staccato notes and then a regular quarter note. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So left hand comes up on 4 also. So both hands, when you get to beat 4, come up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like so at the end. Go back up to the top. Second measure. Let's get this rhythm down. If you're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? Because in the first measure, that's all it is. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So in the second measure, it's there. 1 and 2 and 3 and. See the third eighth note tied to the half note comes on the end of 2. So it's 1 and 2 and. And then it ties over. Next measure's same rhythm. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and the next measure 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So watch the rhythm. I mean, once you get it, it's okay. I just need you to be able to read it and understand the rhythm, because it'll get trickier than this. I want to talk about that first ending. This is very awkward. See, there is a note at the top of this thing that says second time both hands 8 VA lower, which means you pretend middle C simply goes down an octave and everything just shifts down. So instead of here, you're here. Okay. Don't know why they did that, but they did it. Okay, that's fine. Well, it's a bit awkward in that first ending to get into this because you're here in this position. Now the right hand's got to go down and play the E, and the left hand's in the way, right? Couple possibilities here. I've told you before, or maybe I didn't. If I didn't, I probably will eventually, that when you cross hands, you always go over. There's very seldom a time when you'd go under. Well, ta-da! This is the time you go under. And that's because the left hand's playing a black note. So we're here in this position. In the 8th note, you're here. If I go over to get the E, the left hand is in the way, and there's not a lot I can do about it because of the black note. In this case, it's easier to lift the left hand up and slide under to get the E. So in this case, I suggest you go under if you're going to do it that way. Like that. That'll work. Another way of doing it is do all of these 8th notes in the left hand. Leave the right hand out of it until the very end. And when you do the 8th notes, you use index finger on the B. And then you'll play the F sharp with the little finger, and now it's out of the way. You got room now to cross over. Well, and that works too. When they give you finger numbers in a book like this, music, they're only suggestions. They're not hard and fast rules. You must do it this way or it's incorrect. You know, that's nonsense. They're helping you out by doing that, and I will change fingering from time to time. So in this case, I suggest you experiment and see what you think. Maybe one time you play it one way, and another, play it another way. But there's nothing wrong with you having the left hand play all of those 8th notes. It's a little awkward with the little finger on the black note because you've got to come in a little bit, but you experiment and see what you think. Otherwise, come under. Now there's a note at the bottom of this piece. Long, short, it's played in a swing style. That means the 8th notes are long, short, nothing else. So at the beginning of this, the first measure, it's written this way. If we swing them, it's this way. And this piece is generally played in a swing style. And so I'm going to do it that way today when we play it together. Now as far as the dynamics go, you can do the dynamics that has an MF-P, meaning the first time it's MF or medium loud, and the second time it's going to be soft. Doesn't have to be, that's just what they're suggesting. And then there's a hairpin there, a crescendo, that, okay? So you're going to gradually get louder. Don't know how louder, but you can experiment and decide. You don't have to get really loud, just louder. Now, at the bottom, you have a decrescendo there in the first measure of the last line. Okay, going into the first ending, and then another decrescendo for the 8th notes, where you're already soft. They want you to get, no. What we do in this case is we bring it back up, so we got room to get soft. So in the first measure, we do that. You come up and so you can get soft again. We make these adjustments in music to make it more musical, and that's one of the reasons you'd have a teacher to explain that kind of junk to you. I do want to point out there at the end of the first line, those notes have an accent on them, so you give them a little extra oomph, so it's here. Give them a little, not a lot extra, and next one same thing. And the next one again. Give the accent notes just a little extra oomph. It says brightly. You do brightly, I'm doing slow. So I'll give us 4 counts of what's come in. Now, the right hand is in the way of the left, because the left needs that E. So you can leave your left hand back out of the way for a bit until the right hand gets out of the way, and then you can bring your left hand up. I'll leave that up to you. 1, 2, ready, and go, and.